Hello friends, welcome back. Welcome back to LazyCivilServant. Today we'll discuss the current affair of 17 September 2019. So without any wasting time, let's move to the question number 1. Name the Indian city that has hosted the 14th session of Conference of Parties of United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification for the first time in India. Options are A. Guwahati, Assam, B. Pune, Maharashtra, C. Greater Noida, Delhi NCR, D. Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh, E. None of these. So the correct answer here is C. Greater Noida, Delhi NCR. It is the first time that a UN Convention to Combat Desertification is being held in India. So let's see the explanation of the answer. The 12-day 14th session of Conference of Parties of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification was held at India Expo Center and Mart, Greater Noida, Delhi NCR from September 2 to 13, 2019. It was the first time India has hosted the conference. Moving to the next question. What is the revised loan exposure limit to banks to a single NBFC, excluding gold loan companies, by Reserve Bank of India? So options are A 15%, B 25%, C 20%, D 30%, E none of these. So correct answer here is 20%. As announced in the Statement of Development and Regulatory Policy dated August 7, 2019 on harmonization of single counterparty exposure for the banks, exposure to a single NBFC with general single counterparty exposure limit, the Reserve Bank of India made amendment in large exposure framework. Remember this large exposure framework. It can be asked in any examination. It has increased the bank's loan exposure limit to a single NBFC. NBFC stands for non-banking financial company, to 20% from 15% of its eligible capital base. However, this is not applicable to the gold loan companies. Moving on the next question. What should be the minimum capital of small finance bank as per the RBI's new guideline under on-tap regime? Options are A 200 crore, B 100 crore, C 500 crore, D 300 crore, E none of these. So the correct answer here is rupees 200 crore. The Reserve Bank of India has framed new guideline in licensing small finance bank under on-tap regime in order to make more participants in financial banking sector. The new guideline is that small finance banks should have 200 crore minimum capital within the 5 years of its operation. The small finance bank should initially have at least 100 crore for start of its operation. However, it should make it to 200 crore capital within 5 years. And now what is on-tap licensing? On-tap licensing is a time efficient feature that will allow eligible parties to obtain license on demand basis and without the need to wait. I mean, they will not waste any time in getting the license, and RBI allow license to the participants or applicant throughout the year. Okay, moving on the next question. CAR was recently in news. What does A stands in CAR? So options are A arbitrage, B altruism, C asset, D adequacy, E none of these. So the correct answer here is adequacy. The full form of CAR is capital adequacy ratio. Moving on the next question. Who heads the RBI panel that had suggested to set up a federal body like GST Council for Educational Sector, also recommended to transfer subsidy directly with an overall limit of rupees 3 lakh per individual farmer through Kisan Credit Card mode? The options are A Saktikant Das, B Mahesh Kumar Jain, C Anas Vithunathan, D Viral Acharya, and E none of these. So the correct answer here is B Mahesh Kumar Jain. The RBI panel chaired by Mahesh Kumar Jain has suggested creating an institution like the GST Council to implement the reform in agriculture sector. It was also recommended to transfer the subsidy directly to the account and avoid debt waiver. The panel stated that subsidy on interest, subvention or agriculture credit should be converted into direct benefit transfer like LPG and fertilizer with an overall limit of rupees 3 lakh per individual farmer through Kisan Credit Card. Here, two terms. Reserve Bank of India? Reserve Bank of India's headquarters is situated in Mumbai, and who is the current governor of Reserve Bank of India? It is his name is Mr. Saktikant Das. Moving on the next question. UNESCO will translate and publish anthology of Sikh Guru commemorating his 550th birth anniversary. Options are A. Guru Nanak Dev, B. Guru Gobind Singh, C. Guru Tegh Bahadur, D. Guru Angad, E. None of these. So the correct answer here is Guru Nanak Dev. Ministry of Culture of Union Government notified that in commemoration of 550th birth anniversary of Guru Nanak Dev, UNESCO will translate and publish an anthology of Guru Nanak Dev's writing in different major languages of the world. So where is the headquarters of UNESCO? It can be asked in examination, so remember always it is in Paris, France. Name the Australian cricketer who has created world record by scoring 10 consecutive half centuries against one nation, that is England. The options are A. Stuart Broad, B. David Warner, C. Ben Stokes, D. Steve Smith, E. None of these. So the correct answer here is Steve Smith. Australian international cricketer and former captain of the Australian national team Steve Smith created world record by scoring 10 consecutive half centuries against England. He broke the record of most 50 plus run in a row against a single nation on the second day of 5th Ashes Test at Oval Stadium in United Kingdom. The previous record was held by the Pakistani cricketer Injmam ul Haq, who had hit 9 straight 50 scores against England from 2001 to 2006. Moving on the next question. Pius Jain is associated with which sport? Options are A. Snooker, B. Table tennis, C. Tennis, D. Badminton, E. None of these. The correct answer here is B. Table tennis. New Delhi's Pius Jain lost to top seed and world number 1 Yuanyu Chen of China by 4-0 in the final and settled for the silver. With this achievement, he made into the Asian squad which will participate in the World Cadet Challenge in Poland in October 2019. Kindly remember this, World Cadet Challenge will be held in Poland in October 2019. Next question. What is the GDP growth rate or gross domestic product growth rate of India for the finance year 20 by International Monetary Fund? So options are A. 6.8, B. 7.5, C. 7%, D. 7.2%, or E. None of these. So correct answer here is 7%. IMF is headquartered in Washington DC. Also remember this, its headquarters is in Washington DC. So moving on the explanation of this question, the IMF has reduced the GDP growth rate of India to 7% from its previous estimate of 7.3%, which is much weaker than expected by the IMF. This rate cut is attributed to certainty in corporate. This rate cut is attributed to uncertainty in corporate and environmental regulatory in some non-banking financial companies. This growth rate was expected to rise to 7.2% in financial year 2021, which is also downgraded downgraded projected growth rate of 7.5 in the earlier report. Earlier in the next financial year, it was projected that India will achieve 7.5%, but now for the next financial year, IMF has projected 7.2. Two things here you have to remember, that what was the reason IMF has quoted for this downgrade. This is the rate grade. The two reasons are uncertainty in corporate and environmental regulatory in some NBFCs. So remember these lines also. Okay, moving on the next question. Who was elected as the president of Conference of Parties for the next 2 years during the 14th session of Conference of Parties of United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification? The options are A. Dharmendra Pradhan, B. Piyush Goyal, C. Prakash Javadekar, D. Narendra Modi, E. None of these. So here correct answer is our Environment Minister, Mr. Prakash Javadekar. Sri Prakash Javadekar, Union Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, was elected as the COP President for the next 2 years. Moving on the next question. Where is the headquarter of the IMF located? I have already discussed this. Options are A. Delhi, India, B. Geneva, Switzerland, C. Paris, France, D. Washington, D.C., E. None of the above. So correct answer is D. Washington, D.C. 12 question is LEF was in recently news. What does E stands for? This is also discussed earlier. So options are A. Exchange, B. Exposures, C. Economy, D. Equity, E. None of these. So the correct answer here is exposure. Moving on the next question. E stands for exposures. The full form of LEF is Large Exposure Framework. Kindly remember this. Large Exposure Framework. The 13th question is name the first Indian company that launched India's first maritime communication service to provide quality broadband service to the maritime sectors. Options are A. Nelco, B. Bharti Infratel, C. Tejas Network, D. Nortel, E. None of these. So the correct answer is A. Nelco. Nelco, a security service provider company of Tata Group, announced the launch of Maritime Communication Service. By this launch, Nelco became the first Indian company to provide broadband service in maritime sector. This communication service that provide uninterrupted broadband internet to any maritime vessel sailing in Indian water was launched by Union Minister of Communication, Electronics and Information Technology and Law and Justice Sri Ravi Shankar Prasad in Mumbai, along with the pilot launch of Central Equipment Identity Register System to track stolen mobile phone. Also remember this Central Equipment Identity Register System which will be used to track the stolen mobile phone. Moving on the next question. Who released the book titled Rethinking Good Governance, penned by former Comptroller Auditor General CAG Vinod Rai in New Delhi. The options are A. Amit Shah, our Home Minister, B. Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, C. M. Venkaiah Naidu, our Vice President, D. Ramnath Kovind, our President, E. None of these. So the correct answer here is M. Venkaiah Naidu, our Vice President. Moving on the explanation. On September 13, the Vice President of India, Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, has released the book entitled Rethinking Good Governance, penned by the former CAG Vinod Rai, New Delhi. It was published by Rupa Publication. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you like the video, kindly like it, share it and subscribe on channel. Thank you so much.